Hey there, and welcome to another video. This time somewhat related to RogueDemon, but also loosely connected to fighting games as a whole. Today, I'll be talking about video game terminology that might make my videos a lot easier to understand. I do read my comments, and lately I've been seeing a lot of people asking for me to explain what terms such as zoner or turtle mean. These are important and common terms to know in fighting games, so if you're pretty new to PvP games, then this video will definitely be a pretty big help to you. Now, without further ado, let's begin the lesson on video game terminology. Let's start with the word zoning, which means to attack from a distance using ranged attacks, keeping space between the player and the opponent, or like the word says, a zone. If a class is a zoner, it means they're really good at attacking from afar and keeping distance, but pretty weak when it comes to close quarters combat. Abilities like String are a good example of a zoner. They have plenty of range moves like String Pull and String/M2, but don't have much power at close range. So if someone is keeping a lot of distance from you, then they'd be called a zoner. The next term we'll be going over is turtling, which in simple terms means to constantly hold block and defend, without being offensive and fighting back. Turtling is pretty common in games like RogueDemon, where there's no limit to how many attacks you can block. If you've ever encountered someone in-game who just held block when you tried to attack them, and rarely ever tried to attack you themselves, then they're a turtle. Pretty simple term overall. The third term we'll be discussing is runner, which kind of explains itself. A runner is someone who just runs away from you like they're in an Olympic marathon and trying to get first place. You've almost certainly fought one at one time or another. However, the difference between a runner and a zoner is that runners aren't fighting back and are more focused on trying to escape rather than keeping distance so that they can use their ranged moves. While zoners may engage once in a while, runners refuse to ever get close and are only able to use moves, with no idea what a basic combo even is. And this is what separates a runner and a zoner. Now that we've talked about runners, let's discuss their opposite, the rushdown. Rushdowning is when someone is being very offensive, rushing their opponent down, as the word says. Things like water or insect are rushdowns. They're not great defensively, but their offensive power is great for chasing down and defeating opponents. Another important term you'll need to know is teamer, which is also a pretty self-explanatory word. A teamer is anyone who works together with someone else to fight other people, and they're very common in-game. It's a simple, but very widely used term. Moving on, let's talk about the term glass cannon, which refers to something that has extremely powerful offensive power, but very low defense. Insect and water, while being rushdowns, are also glass cannons. Their combos and offensive moves are amazing, but they have no evasive, meaning that they can die from a single combo if they're not careful. Glass cannons tend to be very risky to play, but also quite rewarding. Now that we've talked about glass cannons, let's discuss what a jack-of-all-trades is. A jack-of-all-trades is a class that is good at everything, not being particularly good for any one specific purpose, but not having any big weaknesses either. String and Flame are good examples of this, having a lot of options for different scenarios. Jack-of-all-trades can be pretty good for new players, since they have everything. Let's now talk about the term evasive, which is used to define a move that gets you out of a combo. Almost everything in the game has one, and they're a lifesaver in some situations. These moves are able to be used while in stun. Pretty simple term, but definitely a widely used one. Now, let's define the term ultimate. An ultimate in the game is generally considered to be the move in a moveset that has the longest cooldown and the most destructive power. There's no specific guideline for what makes an ultimate, but you can usually tell from the long cooldown and how much stronger they are compared to other moves. For the final term in this video, let's talk about the term frame 1, which is related to the properties of moves. When a move is frame 1, that means it activates instantly on the first frame of startup. Thunderclap and 6-Foot are examples of this, as they have no startup and activate as soon as the button is pressed. And with that, that's the end of this small little lesson about video game terminology. Hopefully, now that you've watched this, you'll be able to understand the things I say in my videos a lot better, and also be able to understand when people are talking about different things in various video games. While some of these terms may be pretty specific to RogueDemon, most of them, like Rushdown and zoning, apply to basically every fighting game out there, from small Roblox games like Blackmagic 2 to professional video games like Street Fighter V. If you enjoyed watching this video, please make sure to like and subscribe as it helps my channel out a lot. With that being said, I'm 𝓥𝓲𝓭𝓮𝓸, and that's the end of the video. See you next time.